Hey everyone, and welcome to Just Love's Chat Space. My name is Paula, and I'm here with Judy. Hi Judy.
Hi Paula, hi everyone.
Today we're going to talk about compassion. Compassion for ourselves and compassion for others. I intentionally say compassion for ourselves first, because I think that this is something that we're inclined to give less importance to. We don't remember to have compassion for ourselves, and for some of us it's not even on our radar. Would you agree with that, Judy?
Definitely yes, Paula. I know many people have trouble getting their heads around this and are afraid of being considered egotistical. But true unconditional love and compassion for ourselves needs to be mastered before we can truly practice it towards others. These qualities come from our heart, so extending love, respect and compassion towards our own self has the effect of softening and opening our heart to allow more of these qualities to flow through to others. Lack of self-love and compassion creates an armour-like quality around us that blocks us from connecting with others in oneness. I recall one of the Greys talking about this once, how heart-to-heart connection is so important universally to enable true oneness to be attained.
Yes, heart to heart, coming from your heart. You make two really good points here, and I'd like to highlight them to drive them home even further. So the first one is when you say true unconditional love and compassion for ourselves needs to be mastered before we can truly practice it towards others. So we have to master this. We have to pay attention to how compassionate we are with ourselves. And as you say, these qualities come from the heart. So extending love, respect, and compassion towards ourselves has the effect of softening and opening our heart to allow more of these qualities to flow through to others. It just makes perfect sense that we need to have compassion for ourselves first. And the second point is when you say, lack of self-love and compassion creates an armor-like quality around us, and that blocks us from connecting with others in oneness. So knowing this has to be an incentive to practice compassion and self-love. I mean to say, who wants to have an armor-like quality around us that blocks us from connecting with others in oneness? How sad would that be?
It sure is. I think we all know people like that and really feel for them, because that beautiful, open, loving and trusting heart-to-heart connection with another person enriches and empowers us so much. The off-planet people are very mindful of this. The Greys refer to it as soul socialising, and it's a huge part of their culture.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So nice. So lovely to know. So, okay, in our last chat space, we discussed free will. We spoke about how we're living on a free will planet with all of its polarities, and how ideally coming from a God's will consciousness is where evolution is taking us. This is achieved by choosing love over fear. I wanted to highlight this here and get your thoughts, Judy, on our natural state, which is a state of love. We are beings of love. Our natural state is one of pure joy, pure unconditional love, ease and connection. We came in blissfully happy, and then we began the programming. The schoolwork and the tests began.
Oh, yes. And this is what Jesus meant in his statement, that you must become again as little children in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. It all centres around the softening of the heart, which in turn enables us to maintain a sense of ease, joy and trust to be able to connect in true oneness with others. At the same time, herein lies a lesson in 5D intuition. On a polarised planet like Earth, it's also about learning to tap into your inner barometer to be able to discriminate between positive and negative energy.
And I really love being here right now experiencing this shift because we can see things unfolding right before our eyes. We're learning that we really do have a choice and that we don't have to have an opinion. We're learning that we are safe and free, and we're opening up our hearts more and more every day. This is exactly what this shift means as we ascend from 3D to 5D, from fourth world to fifth world consciousness. We truly are coming more and more from a higher consciousness, which involves choosing God's will. So with this in mind, let's continue on our chat on compassion.
Okay, learning to refine and sensitise our inner knowing from 3D past 4D and up to 5D is what it's all about. It can certainly be a challenge, this awakening process, but everyone will get there in the end. Learning to practice respect and compassion towards others is such a major, major part of the shift.
Yeah. I was actually inspired to talk about compassion after hearing you talk, Judy, about your experience as a lorca. When Alorca was being held at the military base, she was being questioned by men in uniform who were coming from fear and control. Judy, you would have been able to sense that exactly what they were thinking and what they were feeling because of your telepathic abilities. You didn't argue, you cooperated to the best of your ability, you exhibited softness, you could only be who you were. So I wanted to ask you, if you remember having compassion for them, being a Zeta and coming from a higher consciousness, I was just wondering what you can remember about how you felt and if you did feel any compassion for them.
Oh, goodness, yes, I did. I felt so sorry for them. I hate to see any creature in fear or pain, and I could deeply sense their absolute terror and fear of suddenly finding themselves with this weird-looking alien creature on their hands, whose very presence was shattering their whole worldview and beliefs that they'd all been brought up with. Our presence was knocking them right out of their comfort zone. All I wanted to do was reach out to them and reassure them that there was nothing to be scared of, that we were not a threat to them. It's the same situation up on the ship when we see the absolute terror in people's eyes when they find themselves in our company. And the problem is that the fear closes around them like a shield, so telepathic communication cannot penetrate. I've talked about this before, how I can recall literally shouting at somebody telepathically to try to get them to hear what I was saying in an attempt to reassure them. Hopefully more Earth people will soon wake up and be able to connect more easily from the heart.
Yeah, heart to heart again.
Yeah.
Well, with this shift, more light is coming in and we are seeing and understanding things more deeply than before. Earth is innately a polarised planet and the polarities are going to get louder before they settle into any kind of a harmonic. That's just the way it is with polarisation. It's like a pendulum. So we're going to see more of the good and we're going to see more of the not so good coming to the fore. However, rest assured that there are more positive things happening on and for the planet than the not so positive. The problem is that the mainstream media don't report on the positive.
Exactly, and the online media isn't any better. Looking from the off-planet perspective, the rubbish being put out online and the lies and trickery being spread are just beyond words. I mean to say you only have to look at the huge number of clips and interviews online portraying the ETs as negative and something to be feared. All of the media down here, mainstream and otherwise, want nothing but drama and negativity. That's what pulls people in, which is so sad. I've experienced the lies and disinformation being spread on the net, and my advice is to take everything you hear with a very large grain of salt. Learn to sense into the energy behind any media information, YouTube, clip, interview, everything you listen to.
Yeah, we spoke about that before, about sensing into the energy behind it and not to take too much notice of what's been said.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we are merging and purging into new people, we're literally witnessing and experiencing the shifting of an energy that we've had with us ever since we've been here on Earth. So that's where that sense of loss that some of us may be feeling comes from. We're moving into an age of love, an age of the heart. And so you may feel like your heart is breaking, but know that it is actually breaking open. It is expanding. It is literally waking up as well. There's just so much more space and room for compassion now in your heart.
Yes, for sure. But the interesting thing is many people still have an underlying need for drama and fear. It's like it energises and excites some people and almost seems to give them a reason for being. I guess it's just part of human nature and why so many young people love scary stories about ghosts, vampires, etc. Too many people seem to retain this trait throughout life and purposely go searching for fear, negativity and drama. And of course there are the ones out there who are only too ready, willing and able to provide it in the way of fake news, online trolling, etc. Moving past this and learning to focus on positivity, love, kindness and compassion enables us to grow beyond all of this 3D, 4D energy and make the shift up to 5D.
In our last chat space, Judy, you drew our attention to the fact that we are actually in training. We're in training just as Jesus and other grand spiritual masters have been down through the ages. I don't think we think about ourselves in that way. We have this perception of ourselves that puts us down as weak, helpless victims and sinners. So when you said that we are in training, it really impacted on me and made me realise that, yes, Indeed, I am in training, and I have been in training all of my life. And really, at the end of the day, it is no less important. Our own life journey is no less important than any journey of any grand spiritual masters, because of the fact that we are all one. I had a bit of an aha moment when you said that. I found it very empowering, and the more I think about it, the more empowered I feel. Like being at one with all of the grand spiritual masters. It's like, in other words, we all count in the greater scheme of things.
Yes, and again, going back to the words of Jesus, remember the comment that he made about his own seemingly miraculous abilities, and that we are all capable of such things and more. When you think about it, Yeshua never ever disempowered anybody. He tried to get across that we all have God essence within us, so we all have the ability to create and perform miracles. And this is the reason for our lives on Earth, the best school planet in the universe, because of its extreme polarity and therefore endless choices, along with our gift of free will to make those choices. Our lessons here involve learning to create positively rather than negatively. And we just have to keep coming back, repeating the grade until we've mastered this all-important lesson. The key here is to fully acknowledge that we do create our own reality through the way we think, and so yes, we are all potential creators and masters in training.
In the best school in the universe.
Absolutely.
More and more of us are waking up, and more disclosures are emerging, both positive and negative. As well as this, we have all of the new paradigms, the new beliefs, new concepts, and new ways of being coming to the fore as a higher conscious awareness. Thus, we sometimes have an aha moment that we want to share with people we love. And that's all well and good, but at the same time, be mindful and accept that if they don't connect to what you're saying or to the disclosures that are emerging, that it's okay. They may prefer to continue to hold on to their old beliefs and dismiss what is now being discussed more openly. That too is okay. They may prefer not to join in with your conversation and concepts, so it's important here to allow them their own journey. Everybody is entitled to what they believe, and pushing against a person's long-held belief often causes them to become resentful and to dig in even more. And sometimes, believe it or not, in the long run, it turns out that they are right after all.
Yes.
Because everybody's right. We all are entitled to our own beliefs.
Everyone's
no right, no wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's on their own journey, and it's important that we respect that. Sure, if someone asks for our opinion, then be happy to share, but go gently and be respectful of where they're coming from and where they are on their soul journey. Pushing somebody beyond what they're ready for is not helpful to them.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes your beliefs and understandings may be so far removed from what other people deem normal that it's too much for them to face up to and to deal with. It's too confronting for them, and it causes a cognitive dissonance. So respect for their journey is what is needed here, and also compassion. Compassion for them and also compassion for yourself. For them to fully understand what you're saying, you may need to hand feed them little by little, one small drop in the ocean after another, so to speak. What you are essentially asking them to do is to relinquish probably almost everything that they believe to be true. You're basically shaking the ground that they stand on. Everything that they know and everything that they have learned will probably be challenged with these new ideas and concepts that are emerging. As we continue to break down everything that has been based on competition, conflict, fear and control, having utmost respect, empathy and compassion for the people who align with us, but also for the people at this point who don't align with us, is going to enable the shift to happen faster and with more grace and ease.
Yes, for sure, Paula. Discretion and sensitivity are needed here. As I said before, many people seem to thrive on fear and drama and don't even want to know that there is another way. And others just want to stay in a warm, fuzzy comfort zone and don't want to be challenged or asked to think more deeply about things. The belief system that a person has been brought up in is a typical example. So many of us have been taught from little ones that God is up there and we're down here, all completely separate. We're told by religion that we're all born with original sins, so unless we get baptised, then spend our life flattering this mysterious God figure with praise and adoration at least once a week on the Sabbath, we'll all go to hell for eternity. The thing is, some people believe this to the letter, and others don't really think one way or the other, but still passively accept it without question. If you do try to question them, they get uncomfortable and change the subject. But yes, exercising compassion and respect for everyone will definitely enable the shift to happen more easily. It's those who don't want the planetary shift and who deliberately want humanity to remain trapped in 3D, with all the wars, guns, conflict and divisiveness. These are the ones who are inciting and encouraging all the violent demonstrations and riots. Yes, change is needed, but violence doesn't succeed in the end. It doesn't have to be that way. Look at what Mahatma Gandhi achieved to get India free of British rule, and it was all done peacefully.
Yeah, that's true. Really, the bottom line is having compassion for people that we do align with, as well as those that we do not align with. These others include the likes of politicians, criminals, terrorists, and so on. It's not an easy ask, but when you look behind the yelling and the screaming, the abusing, the fanaticism, the drugs, and the alcohol, when you look behind all of these externals, you'll most likely see a sensitive person with an aching heart and deep pain. And by looking at this in this deeper way, you'll find it easier to understand that these acts are carried out from a young and troubled soul, from a tortured life, from a heavy heart, and from most probably a dysfunctional upbringing. Such souls don't even realize that they are asleep and could be awoken to something better. So the message is to have compassion for them and also to have compassion for yourself for not always being able to see them for the person behind the pain, for wanting them to be the people that you want them to be and not allowing them their journey. Remember, we are in training.
Oh my goodness, yes, and it takes a lot of training to be able to view things from that higher perspective. Again, look at the life of Yeshua, Jesus, who we know as Jesus. This message of unconditional love, non-judgment, peace and deep compassion, of turning the other cheek, this is what Jesus was and is all about. It's so very sad to see some who profess to follow him and call themselves Christians, but who are so pro-guns, pro-violence, pro-conflict, and who are so prejudiced and judgmental of others who are different. The Bible says, "Judge not, or you yourselves will be judged." It's all about love and compassion. These are also the twin pillars of Buddhism. Just a quick mention here of a brilliant book I read years ago, written by a woman by the name of Erin Gruwell, entitled The Freedom Writer's Diary: How a Teacher and 150 teens use writing to change themselves and the world around them. It's a story about a class of very sad, angry and disillusioned teenagers from seriously broken homes and a background of intense racial prejudice, drugs and alcohol, who were all turned around completely by a gifted teacher who came from unconditional love and compassion. I'd highly recommend this as a must-read book to help our listeners understand the incredible power behind love and compassion.
It sounds beautiful.
That's
I haven't read
wonderful.
that book. I'll have to get it. So I actually have a little mantra that I repeat when things aren't so easy. I take some time, and sometimes I need to do this many, many times a day. I close my eyes and I say, I choose my breath, and I breathe more fully. And that brings me back into my body and slows me down. I usually breathe in through my nose and out through my nose. Drop my shoulders and be still. And then I say, I acknowledge the light, which raises my awareness to what's actually going on and the fact that there is more light coming in. So then I pause for a moment to observe everything around me in that moment, and then I say, I soften. I find that that particular word really elicits just so much compassion for all things.
That's so beautiful. I choose my breath and I breathe more fully. I acknowledge the light, I soften. This is what mindfulness is all about, and keeping ourselves centred. Love it.
Remember, things are happening for you, not to you. Remember to stay empowered by choosing your path rather than playing the victim. Be aware of what's actually happening and what you're making it mean.
And in other words, open your awareness to a deeper 5D level of reality and create your own reality from that deeper perspective. We cannot always be in control of what's happening around us. We're also part of a collective reality that isn't necessarily in line with our own personal reality. This is where discrimination and free will come into the picture, in the way we react to this environment. We have a choice here. We can react as a victim by choosing fear, or we can react as an empowered way by choosing love.
Yeah, it's important to try to stay connected to this higher energy as much as you possibly can. So, okay, to sign off for now, if any of you have any questions that you'd like Judy or Maris to answer, you can just leave them in the comments below. For this session, for this chat space session, we will now leave you with love,
peace,
big hugs,
and
a warm goodbye from both of us to all of you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.